So I'm just going to throw this out there. I am really nervous right now. I speak for a living, and it comes easy to me, but for some reason tonight I had some butterflies. When Cal first told me about this, Cal's been a friend for many years now, I of course got on board and said, yeah, of course I'll accept this nomination. And he had to keep emailing me saying, there's an application you're supposed to fill out, you have to tell your story, can you maybe get on that? And there was a moment where, and it was the day before I told him I was going to have it, where I thought, I don't think I can do this. I've gone through so much transition in a really short period of time. And once I kind of started, the snowball effect just kept happening, and I was just in this mode of, this fight mode for so long that I never really had a chance to really take a breath and like really dig deep into myself and kind of figure all of this out. And that's what I had to do. So my story came out at 2 a.m. the night before it was due. There might have been some wine involved and a lot of crying. So I'm really glad to be here with all of you, and I am just so humbled to be in the room with so many incredible people. And I do have notes, so sorry. The beginning of my transition happened probably about 5 or 6 years ago when I kind of woke up a little bit, and I think it was Kat that was talking about waking up. I woke up a little bit and realized that I was living my life in a way that was not at all authentic to who I knew I was becoming. I'm kind of that cliche college girl meets a boy, gets married because everybody's doing it, and then, you know, kind of tries to race to the kids and white picket fence and the big house and the great jobs and all of these things. And I woke up one day and I did get 2 beautiful children out of it who are just my heart and soul. But I woke up one day and thought, I can't pretend to do this anymore. I've been pretending my entire life to be something that I'm not. And there was a moment, and I do want to thank somebody here tonight, and that's you, Cal. There was a moment, we met through work and became friends, and I had shared a little bit of this story with him, and went to his office one day, and he made me watch The Matrix. And I am the middle sister of 3 girls, so I've seen every episode of Blossom ever made, and Full House, but I've never even heard of The Matrix before. So, and there was kind of this moment when they're talking about the red pill versus the blue pill, and Cal looked at me and was like, what pill are you going to take? And that's kind of what started everything, and he has been my quote-unquote guru ever since then. So I made a really tough decision. I lived this very traditional life. I come from a very traditional family. I was married to a wonderfully traditional man. And I made the decision one day to just say, this is all so wonderful, but it's not me, and it's not what I want. So I separated from my husband. I had a 2-year-old and a 4 or 5-year-old at the time. And just making that decision and taking that step really started so much transition in my life. And it was horrible. My family was very upset with me. I lost a lot of friends. I lost his entire family. I lost a lot of wonderful people in my life, but every day I just kept waking up saying, I can keep doing this. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm following my heart. I'm going to do this. And it was hard. It was hard. I'm sure there's people in this room that have probably gone through similar things. And it was hard every day, but I never felt more powerful and more like myself. So after going through that, after I had started that process, I was fired from a job that I thought I was amazing at. And it happened like that. It was one of those, come into my office, pack your stuff, and go. And that really hurt. That hurt a lot, because I had no idea what I did wrong. I felt like this huge failure. I was, in my late 20s at the time, so I thought I was amazing at everything, as most people in their 20s feel. But I approached that transition just a little bit differently, because I had already taken this huge step in life to be different and to handle things differently. So that hurt, but it hurt a little bit less than it probably would have before. Got my own place, moved out, had this amazing experience with my children, explaining to them that mommy and daddy don't love each other anymore. That's not, we still have so much love, and our family just looks different. I was so thankful to be living in Ann Arbor at the time, where I could use the people around me as, teachable moments for my children. They had kids in their class who had gay and lesbian parents and single parents and all these different kinds of parents. And I used that to explain that, all families are different. And explain that to a lot of their friends, a lot of my nieces and nephews, and, kind of got looked at really crazy by a lot of my very traditional family. But my children went through that process, never crying, never feeling bad, never not feeling loved. And that meant a lot to me. Then I got my dream job. And 3 months after that happened, went to the doctor, and long story short, at 32 years old, was told that I had very aggressive, very late stage breast cancer. So that sucked. I had finally felt like I had conquered this beast of like becoming myself. And I thought, I was kind of done. I was starting to think about dating again and, really throwing myself into my work and doing all of these great things, and then that hit me like a ton of bricks. And I'll never in my life forget the day. It was New Year's Eve day last year, so just over a year ago when I was diagnosed, and I fell apart, of course, as anybody would. I had my mother, I'm the middle of 3 sisters, like I said, I had my mother tell me in the bathroom as I'm falling apart that she's thankful that I'm the one of her daughters that got this because the other 2 couldn't handle it. That was kind of good and bad at the same time, but it's like, I don't know if that's a compliment or what's going on here. And then my family wanted to be with me, and I said, nope, it's New Year's Eve and I have plans tonight. And I drove to my very best friend Stephanie's house, who's here with me tonight. For some reason, I needed to take a shower. I needed to rinse off all the bad news and all the stuff. And Stephanie sat with me in the shower while I bawled my face off. And then I got up, I got dressed, I put on the sparklest dress I could find, and I drove to Rite Aid and bought 7 different curling irons because I thought, I'm not going to have hair much longer, and so tonight my hair is going to look amazing. It was very long. And went out with all of my best friends in the world and had the best time, and I think I said this in my story in here. That night was just, everything was bright and beautiful and amazing, and I was just looking at everything in a different way than I ever have in my entire life. And so that night was really this defining moment in my life, and I'll never forget it. After that, I jumped right into all the treatment that I had to do. I argued with every single doctor that I talked to, so I apologize if there's any doctors in this room. I'm your worst nightmare. I was told that if I was even going to live at all, it was going to be with no hair, no breasts, no dignity, no nothing, and that it was going to take 3 years for me to ever be normal again, if I was even going to be alive for that. And I kind of said, no. I'm 32 and single, so the breasts are not going anywhere. I decided to do chemo first, which kind of broke the rules at U of M Hospital, so that I could kind of figure out what my next move was going to be. And I'm so glad I did that, because then I did some genetic testing. So I understand what you're going through, and was found out that I have the BRCA1 gene mutation, which means that by the age of 40, I have an 89% chance of getting breast cancer. We figured out it comes from my dad's side of the family. He's the youngest of 9. There's a lot of women on that side of the family, including my 2 sisters. So Cal was talking to you earlier about the ripple effect, and I think that I don't regret having cancer. I don't regret going through everything that I went through, because not only did I come out so much stronger on the other side, I mean, I feel like the most powerful that I've ever felt my entire life, because of what I've gone through, but I've also changed the lives of so many of my family members. Both my sisters tested positive, which is very unfortunate, but at least they know now. My older sister just had a preventative double mastectomy with reconstruction, so she got rid of her chance of cancer. My little sister decided to have another baby first, and she's going to do the same thing. And I used every opportunity that I had going through cancer to really help other people, because I felt like if I'm going to take this on, and if I'm going to be the one that has to go through this, it has to be for good. I'm not going to crawl into a hole and wish that this didn't happen to me and cry every day. I mean, I was rolling into chemo with the windows down and the music blaring, and was trying to change the world as I was going through it every second of every day. And I think I did a little bit. I think I did change. I think I changed some people. I never wore a wig. I bought a really expensive wig and hated it, and decided to be the bald girl. And that was really tough. But that changed a lot of people. I would go into chemo and there would just be women crying and ripping their wigs off because it's a stigma, you know, it's a stigma to not have hair. And it doesn't need to be, because bald is beautiful too. Yeah. So I feel like I'm rambling. I have a lot more notes, but I don't remember what else I was going to say. Just that the peace that I started feeling, once somebody tells you that there's a really good chance that you could die, you really reevaluate things. And I already thought I had gone through this great transition to had become this amazing person from it, this strong, empowered person. But that was just the beginning, because I didn't even know at that time that I had this huge transition right ahead of me that I could take on in a really different way, which was great. And I really just let the peace enter in, and I didn't have anxiety about it. I didn't have fear about it, because I just thought it is what it is, and I'm meant to be doing what I'm doing, and this is all happening for a reason. I still right now have a 25% chance of the cancer coming back within 2 years, and if that happens, it will be stage 4. And I tell people that, and everybody's like, oh my gosh, like, how do you function every day? And I just do. I function every day because I'm here functioning to make a change and make a difference in the world. And you know, if that's for another 2 years and that's it, then that's it. If it's for a lifetime, then I'm going to devote my life to doing whatever I can to help others. That's all.